Hi! Today is a day of firsts at PowerDrift. Our first is the fact that we have a Volvo car on our channel. And our second first is, well, I'll come to that in a second. For right now, ladies and gentlemen, I give you a car that Euro NCAP trusts in and is rated as the safest car of year 2015, the Volvo XC90. Now, you may all know Volvo cars as cars that do no wrong, that protect the people on its inside and those on the outside. But how do they do that? 40% of the car in weight is made of ultra high-strength steel called boron steel that Sweden is so famous for. The car's traction control system and cameras detect if the car gets lifted off the ground in case of an unintentional jump. And upon landing, well, the car seats have a cassette-type mechanism built into them which prevents your spine from contracting in case of a violent landing. I haven't even begun speaking of the airbags yet, and the car already looks like it's designed to care for my life, like my mom did.
The XC90 in its current iteration is larger than the outgoing model and competes against the Audi Q7, BMW X5 and Mercedes GL class. But Volvo's approach here is very, very different.
Now, speaking of different, brings us to our second first. For the first time on PowerDrift, we have a well-known face from the Indian auto industry whose reputation is as impeccable as the brand Volvo itself. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time on PowerDrift, an auto expert we truly trust in, Vikrant Singh.
Pleasure to have you here. Now this car, the Volvo XC90, it's a 4-cylinder engine. It's 225 horses, 470 Newton meters torque. The numbers are not really big, so one would think that it feels a little sluggish or underpowered. Is that the case?
Yeah, it might seem so on paper, especially when you consider that this is a 2.1 ton car. And the competition, they've got the engine starting from 3 liters and then the Q7's got 4.2. What Volvo's done is they've used those 470 Newton meters of torque really well. So it's got this flat torque curve. And the 8-speed auto that this XC90 comes with, it's able to harness that torque really well. So unless you're really chasing its 230 top speed, you're never really going to find this car anemic or slow or sluggish.
Earlier sometime, I was driving the car in off-road mode, of course on bad roads, off-road roads.
That's right.
And it was quite a lot of fun. When you put the car in off-road mode, the hill descent gets activated. The car also holds on to gears for longer and it increases the ground clearance. But how well is the ride and handling, the suspension?
So let's take handling first. Like you said, yes, 2.1 tons means it is a heavy car. And when you start driving it around corners, you can feel that weight. But this one comes with different drive modes. So you've got eco, you've got comfort, you've got sport, you've got off-road. So once you shift to sport, then the suspension stiffens, the steering becomes a little heavier, but it's still not a car that you'd want to take to a racetrack or really, drive around the corners really hard. It's meant for long distance cruising comfort. The feedback from the steering is not great. It's not exactly a very quick steering system, but it flows really well. So, you might not get feedback, but you know exactly where to put the car, how much turn is going to result in how much turn on the road. Braking, good bite, good feel, good feedback, but you just can't get away from the weight. As you go faster and faster, there's just a lot more effort required to cut that momentum. The ride bit, when you have a luxury car, the ride needs to be cassetting, it needs to be quiet, it needs to be plush. That's not the case with the XC90.
I can't get myself around the fact that a car like this doesn't come with electric adjustment to the steering.
Now when you're coming into the party so late, I mean the Q7's been around, X5 is there, and you've had the old XC90 for years now, 13 years I think. So when you come with a new car, you need to cover all your bases. In this car that hasn't happened, right? It doesn't even have electric fold for the last row of seats, which is like a standard in this segment now.
Right.
While Vikrant was being a little critical with his points, I was lost amidst the great furniture that the XC90 had on offer. There was an air-ventilated subwoofer and a total of 19 Bowers & Wilkins speakers surrounding me. The seats were mighty comfortable and the dash had only 8 buttons and one huge 9-inch touchscreen, like never seen before in cars. The heads-up display and the instrument cluster complemented each other with information you needed now and information you needed in a bit. Everything was here, but only subtly. And the subtlety of the vehicle on the inside reflected on the outside too. Smooth lines, and the closest it ever came to aggression was when you lit the Thor's hammer headlamps on.
Well, I want to go on talking about the XC90 here, folks, but this is just a first drive, a quick impression, so we are out of time. This is a car that has won a non-automotive award for its design, the Red Dot Award, and a car winning a non-automotive award is just terrific. How great a car is this, really?
Like you said, it's won an award for its design, and I think that just says how well Volvo's gone about doing this. And you look at it on the outside, it looks rich, it looks expensive. It's something that buyers in this class would appreciate. My only problem with the XC90 is that it comes in a little late. It's already got well-established competition, but it's not a game changer.
To summarize it, folks, Volvo cars are not just about 0 to 100 but also about 100 to 0. And if that doesn't really put things well, I'll give it another try. If you've ever been on a racetrack, venting out all the horses on a race tarmac and quenching your want to go fast, and by the end of the day when you pack up, you get back in the civil car going back to your hotel, that's really the time, I think, when one will be able to really appreciate Volvo cars for what they are. And the XC90 retains all of that essence. At the price of 78 lakhs ex-showroom, it can be yours, your friends or your foes. Give it up, guys, then for the Volvo XC90, and a big thanks to Vikrant Singh for sparing the time for us. If you have some questions, do type in them below in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to PowerDrift.